Some more of the same, CharLee. Well?
Ready? Hit it.
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ouch, CharLee!
CharLee Simons.
CharLee bit me.
Well, my friend, hello, I am CharLee Simons, and yeah, I'm broadcasting live from Northern California, just outside of Sacramento, the belly of the beast. And I got Sam Anthony I want to have a little discussion with because he was just part of a pretty cool golf tournament that happened on Monday. I want to hear what that was all about. And I want to get his thoughts about President Trump's address to the joint session of Congress that happened last night. Most of America didn't even know it was about to go down because the media all but ignored it. And I just want to get his thoughts on it because he's a kick to talk to. This is going to be like basically a couple of buddies sitting around having a beer kind of talk. But let me give you an example of what it's like. If you've never been to California, if you're not watching in the once Golden State, you don't live here, all you hear are stories. You hear stories about the people who represent us, this is California State Senator Scott Wiener. What's that book he's holding up? Gender Pioneers? Gender Pioneers. Yeah, well, let me tell you about this, about where genders come from. According to that very famous book, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and those 768 other genders are all from Uranus. There you go. That's how they do things here in California, and I say they as in not me. I welcome you to the show, and let's get, ladies and gentlemen, for your dining and dancing pleasure, let's get them into the mix. Sam Anthony from yournews.com. What's up, buddy?
CharLee, am I on? I don't see myself on, but
I don't see you either, and
I'm still in the studio.
See if I can fix that. I don't know why. You should be. Maybe because I messed up in the very beginning and was supposed to do it this way and not that way. And you should be coming on right about now.
No, I don't think so.
Is that you? Is that you right there?
Yeah.
That's not you? Well, let's try this right here. Why is that not working? For heaven's sake. I hope you're enjoying that. There.
You got me now. Now, where are you?
Yeah, where am I? I know. I'm not quite sure what I've done here, how I did it. I tried something new, and see, that's the problem. I run my own show, and I don't have a producer doing these kind of things for me. So, oftentimes, when I try and do something new, I wind up messing it up.
That's okay.
Let's do this. Delete. And I'll fix this all in editing. Hello, Sam.
Hey, there you are. How are you?
What's going on, buddy? This golf tournament on Monday, that sounded pretty cool. What was that?
It was the Broward County Republican Party fundraiser. They have it at Trump National in West Palm Beach. So it's, from Broward, it's only like 30 minutes from the northern end of Broward. But it's nice because they've got the golf course there, and they have sometimes I knew a lot of people that were there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you a photo so you could see it. And Steve Stern takes care of me, but
our friend Steve Stern, the Stern American on Rumble, broadcast live from there. And did you see any heavy hitters? Do some name dropping. Come on now, impress us out here in California.
So the guest speakers that were there were Kevin and Sam Sorbo. I'm sending you a photo. This is I just happened to walk in because I wanted to talk to Steve. I think it was before we were going to play golf, and then all of a sudden somebody grabbed me, and then Kevin Sorbo shows up, and so we all took a photo. And if you look at the golf bag which I'm not going to put it on here because I don't have it up here. It was like, I think they made it for Trump. So it's got the White House on the bag. It's actually really cool. So somebody says, take a photo. So it was going to be me and Steve, and then Kevin shows in and everything. But it was the event. If for anybody that's ever not played the course, wow, it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. As a matter of fact, I played his course in Jupiter, Florida. And when I went to the tee box, I went, oh my God, he's got fake grass. And I reached down to pull on one of them, and it came up. It was real. So in front of the clubhouse is this big piece of like grass, huge, and it looks fake. And so I said to the kid, I go, "Is this fake grass?" He goes, "No, it's real." Wow. I mean, Trump is so meticulous in how he wants this manicured. You can't even tell it's grass. That's how beautiful. Right.
That's cool.
And the course itself was just spectacular, and we had a good time. That's all.
Well, someday I'd like to, if I ever make it out to Florida again. I love to golf. I'm not any good at it, so the best thing I do with my friends who I golf with is embarrass them and slow down the foursome. That's always fun. But yeah, I got to go chase this ball over here. You better give me my own cart. That's how I golf. But I love it. I love the game. So, yeah, I actually broadcast Steve Stern's live broadcast. I did a restream of it, and it was fun to watch. A lot of good information, like usual with Steve. But did you catch the speech last night? President Trump's address to the joint sessions of Congress. Not a State of the Union.
Not a
As
State
they
of
kept
the Union.
screwing up in the media and calling it that. It was not a State of the Union. That's completely different.
So I did catch it. I usually go to bed at 9:00 right when it was starting. So I stayed up, and I probably missed the last 15 minutes, but I caught up with it on YouTube or Rumble or one of those this morning. I was looking at clips, so I didn't really miss much, but I enjoyed it profusely. I almost want to just watch it again as a rerun because it just goes to show you where the Democratic Party is. I mean, there's nothing that makes them happy. I mean, when you can't stand for a kid that's got freaking brain cancer, when you can't stand for women whose children were freaking killed from illegals,
Yep.
I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? So, CharLee, every time I have these conversations with you, and you always tell me, that the end of the world is coming, I'm going to tell you the exact opposite because I could see the whole thing. This is actually going to be easy. I'm as long as nobody kills Trump, knock on wood, he's going to completely drain the swamp. All you got to do is take these people's money away. The next step is we're going to remember when we used to say, why is the media lying? Somebody's got to be paying them off. Well, now we know. Okay. So
Somebody was. USAID was paying off media outlets.
So they were all getting paid for this BS, and now we know. So now they're completely irrelevant. They were irrelevant before, but people used to say, "Oh, how do why do you say that? It's all conspiracy." No, not anymore. Okay, we already know they were paying off hundreds of millions of dollars to the U.S. media,
Our tax dollars.
Oh God! So now
People
we
need
know.
to be in prison. People need to be in prison yesterday.
Yeah,
They need to be in prison for this.
I would agree with you on that. I think it should be a lot worse than that. But that being said, I'll keep my opinion out of that. But when it comes to the draining of the swamp, the way you drain them, which I'm not a genius on this, but he's doing it. He's just taking their money supply away, right? So imagine you are one of these politicians, one of these liberals or conservatives. It doesn't matter, and you have money funneled to you, and this money goes to this NGO, which then gets spread out, which right now is conspiracy because nobody's actually proven it. But I can assure you, they're going to follow this damn money, and they're going to start arresting people for this. So all of a sudden, you've been working in Congress for the last 15 years, making $170,000 a year, but you're somehow worth $100 million because you're pretty much the best freaking trader on planet Earth, right? And trader could be taken in both ways, right? You're an actual trader. So now you've got a $30 million or $20 million house. Look at Obama. What's his house worth in the Hamptons? $30 million. Okay. And what's the taxes on that? Annual. Okay. It's going to be massive. and all of a sudden somebody cuts off your money supply. Well, $174,000 a year ain't going to cut it. So this is why they're all panicking. And if you notice, these guys are all bitching and moaning that the person that they're not complaining about where the money's being spent. They're complaining about the person and the process of which how you're finding out. Okay, like he's going to do something different, and he's stealing your money, and he's not an elected official, and this is a constitutional crisis. So, CharLee, here's my prediction. And as long as everything stays status quo, and they actually find out that this has been one big massive money laundering scheme, and there's no way it's not. Come on, nobody's that dumb. Nobody sends $20 million to watch two chimpanzees have gay sex or teach them how to have gay sex. And that doesn't happen. Okay, it just goes there so that it could travel to other places. I mean, any moron could figure this out. Nobody's going to fund something like that. So when they start finding this stuff out and people start going to jail for this, Trump's numbers are going to go through the roof, popularity, because all of a sudden, guess who found it all out, right? This is what your money's been going to. Even the Democrats, like the actual hardcore Democrats, I'm not talking in Congress, they're going to, just the voters, they're going to go, holy crap, right? I mean, this is serious stuff. So when arrests are starting to be made and they're actually showing you where the money's going and they're showing you what these people have done, Democratic Party's over, number one. Okay, because it's really the Communist Party of America. That's what it is. They have no interest in the American people. What'll end up happening is now Trump's power, because he's so popular, nobody can vote against him. Okay, you guys, it's political suicide, right? Whatever you want, just tell us. We'll vote for it. So he's gonna. This is what I don't know, but this is what I would suspect. He's going to probably want to take control of our own money, which would be the Federal Reserve, I would think. I mean, it makes logical sense to me. You're not supposed to. I mean, in the Constitution, it says only the Congress can coin its own money, meaning you can't outsource it to somebody else. All the interest that we've been being charged because we're borrowing from ourselves. If you own a bank and you wanted to borrow money for yourself, you're not going to charge yourself, CharLee. You own the bank, right? But all of a sudden, we got to pay interest.
That is what's happening, though.
Okay, so I think he's going to say, you owe us that money back for all that interest. Okay, that because I would. That'd be the first thing I do is say, you don't control this bank anymore. We do. And by the way, we want every nickel. And by the way, we want it by Friday at 11 o'clock. Okay. So here's the amount of money we want. And what'll end up and then what he's going to do is take the IRS and not eliminate them, because he's going to get rid of the income tax, probably go to some small consumption tax or something, drop the expenditures, cut them down to $1 trillion or $2 trillion, right? And now you could take tariffs in from that, so you may not even need a consumption tax. And all of a sudden, the American people are left sitting here going, holy crap, this is phenomenal. So like they all got pay raises. Everybody got pay raises. So I think that's all coming. And I think it's going to make Trump the most popular man in the freaking world, is what I think is going to happen. This is speculation, obviously, because we still have to find out if we actually really did fund chimpanzees how to have gay sex or whatever the hell they're funding. We have to find all this stuff out. But I honestly, CharLee, I think it's all going to come to a head here relatively quickly, or within the next 6 months.
I keep I've had so many people ask me, you think there's going to be a civil war? And I said, I always say, if there is, it will not be citizen against citizen. It will be citizens against illegals, with, as our friend Gil Maza, retired Border Patrol agent, said, there's 50 million, not 10, not 20, 50 million that have gotten in here illegally. And I don't know about in Florida where you are, but out here in California, we're having massive protests, and they're flying their Central and South American flags. And it's all, protesting against ICE, protesting against these deportation of illegals. Most of the people who have come here legally in the state of California, at least that I know, they hate all this going on with illegals coming in because they had to go through the right channels and pay the fees and everything else to be able to come here legally. They're not happy that all these illegals have come in and been given everything free. They're not the people who are out protesting, but we're getting hundreds and even thousands of people protesting, especially in Southern California right now. It's getting really bad. And the doxing that's going on. Some friends of mine were at they were having a watch party of President Trump's speech over in Monterey County, Bay Area, south of San Francisco, by an hour and a half. And the restaurant where they had it, the word got out, and people showed up protesting and being loud and disrupting. And then they doxed the business and the business owner who let them have the watch party there. This owner is scared to death about her future of her business and what's going to happen. And this is all designed to scare people into never ever showing that, yeah, we think this is a good thing. You say that and they're going to ruin you. They got the phone number out. They're signing up the business owner and the people who organize the watch party. They're putting them on these lists to get all this spam and these ridiculous magazine subscriptions and just stupid high school crap. But that's what they're doing en masse. And it's scaring people to death, and it's sending everybody back into being the silent majority. They're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to even wear their Trump hats or anything else American, not Trump, American, wearing a flag, flying a flag, get you targeted, get you doxxed. This is what's happening in California. Is it going on out there? Probably not.
No, we live
your governor won't put up with it.
Well, our government won't put up with it at all.
Our governor encourages it.
Your governor is going to be gone. You're not going to get any funding. That state is going to get way worse, and no money's going to come in. And eventually, you'll probably see, the whole thing just kind of collapse. Now, I'm not talking about the economy. I'm just talking about your state's bankrupt. There's no chance it's coming back from it, right? And Trump's never sending you a nickel. So for the next 4 years, you're going to get nothing, okay? And eventually it's going to get so bad that somebody's going to wave the white flag and say, okay, what do we need to do? Uncle is what they're going to start yelling. And then they're going to come in and fix it all. But that's the only way it's going to play out. There's no other way this is going to play out, because there's no way you guys are going to be able to operate unless they go to 100% state tax. And I wouldn't put it past them, but everybody's going to go, and that's the end of it. So, so it's all coming to a head. And if Trump plays this right, holy crap. I mean, because all this stuff is corrupt, all these states, all this stuff is just BS. So it's gonna be a good thing. You just happen to live in a lousy area. So, I don't know, if you own your house, you rent your house, but if I were you, I'd get the hell out of Dodge. It's not a good place to be. I'm
so dang stubborn. I am just so stubborn. I don't like to quit. I'd much rather fight. But unfortunately, I'm fighting against my own party in many ways. Our big convention, state GOP convention, starts on the 14th, 15th, and 16th in Sacramento, and the rhinos have taken over the state party, and they are almost aligning themselves with Democrats and things that they're proposing, things they're trying to get passed through. And if they can't get us to vote the way they want us to, they'll just do it anyway. That's been happening. This is crazy what's going on in my state. And when you're fighting against your own party, how do you win? So I think you're right.
Let somebody else fight them. It's time to go. Let somebody else deal with it. That whole thing is a house of cards. Eventually, it's going to come down, because if nobody gives you money, I mean, remember the movie Escape from L.A.?
Yeah.
We could just wall it off.
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, Snake Plissken. I mean, just wall it off. That's the end of it. You know, you do that with New York too. Who cares? I mean, nobody cares. So there's plenty of room out there. You go to South Dakota, North Dakota. It's not like they don't have any land. They got tons of it. You know, California is a beautiful place, but they've completely destroyed it. And it's going to get a lot worse because they're not going to get any funding at all. So, you know, let it play out the way it's going to play out. But at the end, it's all going to be good.
My theory has been California's gotten away with all of this, and it's again, it's not the mass population of California. Take that back. I do blame my own fellow electorates because they're not showing up, especially in midterms and primary elections. They're not even showing up, and that's where things are decided as to what's going to happen in the big elections. We don't show up. We're not voting, and we as a collective group of Republicans, and we suck for that. And I hate that, and I hope it changes real soon because otherwise there will be no light at the end of the tunnel here. But I think that the state itself has been rescued and bailed out time and time again and gotten away with this horrific behavior because those in charge in Washington, D.C. are scared to death of California collapsing. So they keep bailing it out. Because the attitude is, as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. If
Fake news.
You think
never
so?
Gonna happen.
Come on. What happened in 2008? California got hit so hard by that, and look what happened to the rest of the country. It happened again in 2012, 2013, the rest of the country, when California was having a little bit of a recession, depression. It took down the rest of the nation. It really hurt you with prices being raised and so on and so forth. And I think that's because California has been coddled because they're scared to death of this state falling flat on its face.
It needs to fall on its face, Charlie.
I agree.
Okay, and it's going to happen. There's no shot it's not, because you have people that are just spending every nickel they possibly can. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we build a high-speed rail? All I need is $2 trillion. We could do it. I mean, it's a joke. They're not using your money for anything. They're not here to help the American people. This is just lining people's pockets. There's never was going to be built to begin with, Charlie. It never was. It's all a scam. The best thing that could happen is the whole house of cards could come down. And once it comes down, you go in and you fix it, but you get rid of the problem. It'll happen. Economically, there's no other way it can happen. Okay, it's bankrupt.
There has to be consequences, yeah.
It's bankrupt. You know, I don't know how you're going to make more money out of nothing. It's bankrupt. You don't have it, so the whole system has to implode, and then you start over. And that's okay because you're getting rid of the crap. That's the whole point. Because the people who broke it, nobody's going to vote them in to fix it. It'll never happen. Because it'll never get fixed. And who's going to give them money?
Right.
You have none. So it's coming. Make no mistake about it. It's going to happen. And everything is propped up by the federal government and printing money. And all that just went away. And USAID isn't giving anybody anything because that thing doesn't exist anymore. So it's a house of cards. Where you live right now is going to collapse, which is a good thing. And then
oh, shoot. Lost you, buddy. Hope you can make it back on. Come back on. There you are. Okay, so the whole thing is going to collapse, and then what?
It's a house of cards. So once it comes down, then you got to have to step in and fix it, right? And we're going to have to figure out where the problem is. So there's got to be audits. There's got to be all this stuff. There's so much crime that has taken place everywhere that really the resources need to be spent on investigations. Okay, that's where all your money needs to go to find out where these crimes are, to put these people in prison.
They have to be. There have to be consequences for their actions. Otherwise, others will just step up and do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, well, it's the world is changing now because of Trump, because he's exposing all this stuff. Let the investigations come in and let people start to get arrested for this stuff, and it's happening in your state too. There's no chance it's not. This high-speed rail, what do they do? Put a rail or two up? I mean, what was it? I mean, well, there was a couple billion right there. It's all designed to steal your money. They do not want a middle class. They do not.
That's it.
Okay.
Now, why is that? Why is that? Let's talk about that.
Because if you're dependent on them and you have to vote for them, they control everything. So you have the mega rich, which $20 a gallon for gas doesn't hurt me. CharLee, it hurts you. Okay. The rich people don't get hurt by it because they don't care. They can still function. And you'll have two classes, rich and poor. And the elite class and the not elite class. Peasants is what it is. Remember the movies with the peasants where they're living in shacks and huts and they're coming in, the king's people are coming in and getting them for their taxes. You got to pay your taxes. And we don't have anything. And they're burning their houses, which are really shacks. I mean, so this is what the Democratic Party wanted. And when you looked at the disdain that the Democrats had around Trump and all the accomplishments, if anything, when you find, like, who in their right mind would be upset that somebody found fraud, right? Like, let's do an audit and maybe we're spending money in the wrong places. I don't care who it is. Okay, let's do it. Oh, hey, we found some. Awesome. That's great. These people couldn't even clap for that. Want to know why? Because that's their money. Okay? It's their money. You just found their money. That's the reason they're not clapping.
Why do they hate the middle class so much? I mean, I ask already believing I know the answer.
Well, the reason they hate the middle class is because they can't control them, because when you have enough money to be able to function on your own and you don't need them, then you're independent, right? So if you needed them and you needed their vote, it makes their power much greater. Now, the mega wealthy is never going to be influenced by this, or they're never going to be hurt by any of this. So and by the way, they're the 1/10 of 1%. Okay, they're almost nobody, and those people are with these people, and these people are going to be the elite class, while everybody else is just peasants that have nothing and they're looking for crumbs. You work for them. Make no mistake about it. And those people do not like you, CharLee. None of them do. Okay. And this whole system of laws thing just drives me freaking crazy. Sorry, my seat was coming down. It's a shame that we had to get to this point. And the reality is the people that got us here really need to be punished severely. I mean, brutally and severely. So whatever you take that as, I could care less, but it's got to happen. And let's hope that they find out. I mean, look at the Epstein thing with all those people going over to Epstein Island. Do you think they were just going over there for a social event, or do you think they were banging little kids? Let's call it the way it is, right? So why has there never been anybody prosecuted? CharLee, if it was me and you, we would never see the light of day. But the elites, well, they get to do it because they're better than us. So this stuff has got to change. And I do believe that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, if there's evidence that could convict these people, they're bringing it forward. I believe that. I'm hoping that that's accurate. But I would be blown away if the FBI actually didn't destroy all that evidence because they were ordered to. How the hell do you keep this stuff?
It happened in New York. The FBI office in New York has not, last report, relinquished a lot of files that were demanded of them.
No,
they just said no, or they didn't even respond in New York, the FBI office.
Okay, but now they got it all. That's what I heard. And now they're going through it all.
Good.
Because they have to redact certain things, right? So they've got it. So let's see what it is. I mean, from what I understand, Epstein had, keep in mind, I don't really know, so I'm just telling you what we hear. I'm in the news business, I'm in the media business, and you probably heard the same thing. There were cameras that hidden cameras wired in every room. Okay, which means they were running, which means the FBI has all that data.
Yeah.
So does that stuff still exist?
Interesting. Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, we would, we would hope that there's some justice for these people, because have you ever seen how many girls came forward and said that, I had sex with this guy and this guy and this guy, and they were like 13 and 14 years old?
Yeah.
And they're not lying, but yet nothing ever happens. But if it was me and you, we'd be locked up. But it's them, so they're allowed to do it. That is absolute bullshit.
Yes, sir. So last night, Al Green gets kicked out of the chambers for screaming, "You do not have a mandate," which I don't understand what he was even talking about. It didn't make any sense. I'm upset at you, and I'm going to stand here in the middle of this chamber while you're trying to give your speech, and I'm going to keep yelling. And it was all just to disrupt. He got exactly what he wanted, which was to be removed. And then on mainstream media, he's a hero today. Everybody's touting him as just this great resist. Somebody was wearing a resist shirt in the chambers last night. Another idiot was following Trump around trying to get in the shot. She was a representative too, holding some sign that said, "This is not normal. This is not normal." What are you talking about? The speech itself being a joint sessions of Congress, him addressing, and not being a State of the Union, which is what everybody's used to. It is normal. Obama did it more than once. Clinton did it. Many presidents have done that exact same thing because they have that authority to say, I want Congress, I want the Senate, I want the House, I want military officials, and I want the Supreme Court justices all in the same place because I got something to tell you. That is called a joint session of Congress. A president can call that, and that's what President Trump did. And this moron's walking around behind him trying to get the sign in the shot. This is not normal. How ignorant are you? How completely stupid are you? You just made yourself look like such an idiot, because it is normal, and it's not the first time. How do you fight that kind of ignorance when so many on the left are put in place by other ignorant people who are voting for them, putting them in office? Half our population is dead set against any kind of real, true, good reform benefiting the United States of America, it seems.
So, Trump lets them all show their cards, right? Show their hand. And he lets all this stuff happen. I mean, if I were him, I would have just said, we want everybody here except Democrats. You're not invited. So they could all stand outside and bitch and moan, right? And I mean, because they're the bad people here. And they're trying to present themselves as the good people. And they're the ones that are here for you, even though, they don't mind if illegals rape your kids or kill your kids. They're not going to deport them. And they don't even want them in jail after they kill your child. And, this little kid with cancer, we're not going to clap for him because honestly, we don't really care because he's black. Okay. It didn't matter what color. At this stage of the game, these people are not Americans. These people are a criminal cartel. They're a criminal organization. Their money laundering has been exposed, and they're trying to figure out how they can stop this guy, and they're making themselves look like idiots. That's all they're doing.
They've been exposed to half the population. The other half don't watch it, don't know, and don't even think about it. They just scream and squeal like children.
Who cares, Charlie? It doesn't matter. So you're either smart or you're dumb. Pick which side you're on, and that's the end of it. Okay? You are. So if you can't carry the one to figure out how much money did you spend on that to watch monkeys fucking do each other, okay, and figure out if they're homosexual, $60 million. Well, was that my tax money? I don't think that's a good idea. I wouldn't just spend it normally. So why are you spending my money on that? Anybody can figure this out. And if somebody says, oh, no, that's good, well, that's just a dumb person, okay? Just an extreme low IQ. So they're exposing themselves, but the reality is he's not trying to be a tyrant. and not trying to say we're going to exclude you from all this stuff. It's just us now, not you. You're gone. He's trying to bring them in as part of the team, and if they're going to screw up, he's going to let them see it. I just disagree. I just think you should just eliminate them and say we don't even want you around us anymore. As a matter of
That
fact,
would be, you know what? I think that's an extraordinary idea. You were so disruptive. You were so disrespectful. You acted and behaved so poorly that we're going to do this again, but the Democrats are not invited. I would love to see.
I would
something
even
like
go
that.
so far as to say we're having a vote on something, but there's no Democrats allowed in to vote. Because your vote's irrelevant. You don't.
I don't
matter.
know about where you are, but they've been doing that in California.
I know they have.
exclude all Republicans from any kind of planning, any kind of committees, any kind of commissions. They've removed them all in the state of California now. All Republicans have had all this stuff revoked that they were even a part of, so they could pretend like they were looking for some kind of input from the right. No, they've removed them all.
Your
That's
state's
what's
going to
going on here.
collapse, but I don't know if you really care about that, but your state's going to collapse. There's no question.
Of course I care. I got friends and family here. This is my life. This is my history.
But once it collapses, it'll then you'll be able to rebuild it. It has to. Because these people are not going to give up power. They're going to sink the freaking ship. And by the way, me here in Florida, just to let you know, whatever happens there ain't going to affect me to a tune of a penny. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Not to mention, I'm probably going to end up going to Puerto Rico anyway. So,
well, as long as you keep yournews.com going, then that'll make me happy, because right now that is, as far as I know, the only platform that does what you do, which is you can hyper local your search for news. It's all presented by people who are professionals, but are like me, lost their job in big media because big media is collapsing. So they're looking for a way to continue what they do and to share. And for all those who are not only podcasters, but authors, writers, reporters, he monetizes. He shares advertising with you like YouTube does and Rumble. So that's a benefit. But for as a consumer of news and information, you can narrow it down to your own zip code if you want to, and just get ads and information from there, or regionally, statewide, nationally, worldwide, and that's yournews.com. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you go to yournews.com, scroll down to the bottom, you can see all the information about how you can even invest. You could be an investor. You could be on the ground floor of making this the next media as we know it, because the media that we're turning to now for information has failed us. And if it hasn't collapsed like it's going on right now at MSNBC and NBC period, it's about to. And what's going to replace it? I don't know. Anything? Is Elon Musk going to buy up every single network? Well, I mean, what's going to happen? What?
CharLee, nobody's going to buy the networks. The networks are just antiquated products, so they wouldn't survive even if they were telling the truth. It wouldn't really matter, simply because what you do, what I do, and how we consume information is changing, and the younger generation doesn't do it that way. So you can't look at our demographic and make the decision on whether these make it or not, because even though you may like to watch Fox or whatever you like to watch, or listen to AM radio on the dial, the younger generation is never going to tune into AM radio. They're going to get it via a podcast, which is on demand, which means they can consume whatever they want. Remember, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, there was no such thing as podcasts. Okay. There was nothing like that. So the only thing you had was the networks, and that's it. Okay. So if you wanted to find information out, you had to turn on the TV, and you had to turn it on at a specific time, right? The technology that exists today allows for people to have options. Okay. And maybe I don't like to watch Sean Hannity. Maybe I don't like to watch Tucker Carlson. Maybe I don't like to watch somebody else. It doesn't matter. Maybe I want to watch somebody that nobody heard of because what he says resonates with me. The point is, there's literally millions of you out there. okay? And people have choices. And so the younger generation is never going to watch anything on mainstream media. And what supports them besides USAID is ad revenue. So since there's no more tax dollars going to the mainstream media, the next step is the ad revenue. Well, remember when Tucker Carlson, left Fox? Remember their audience was 3 million, it dropped to 1 million? Well, if you were an advertiser, are you still going to want to spend for 3 million people, or are you going to spend for 1 million people? See what I mean? So as the audience declines, so does the ad revenue. Well, the cost to prop these things up is massive. And you are local radio, right? You used to do local radio in California. What was the physical cost to run a radio station? It was 7 figures, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is let's just say it's a low level, 100,000 a month. That's 1.2 million a year. It could have been more, right? It could have been 2 million. It could have been 1.5 million. Whatever the number is, how much does your podcast cost you a month to run?
Well, if you want to help, givesendgo.com/DoNotTalk, but just cost to pay platforms and for editing and all that kind of stuff, a few hundred.
That's my point. So one's on a minimum level, 100,000 a month to $300. Who do you think is going to win? Okay, that's my point. So all that stuff is going away. It's not going to survive. And the good news is they've all been lying and we're pissed at them anyway, so let them go. So what'll replace it will be a product like mine, which is hyper local, which does local news in every city in not only the United States, but across the globe. Because remember, all tech companies, Facebook, Amazon, LinkedIn, Netflix, they're all global. And the reason is on the internet, the barrier to entry is pretty much zero, right? Like for me to open up Canada is just the zip code table. For me to open up the UK is just the zip code table for each country. And bam, you got it up and running. So it's not going to survive whether I do this or not. What I do is inevitable. And it's going to end up becoming the next mainstream media. So for those of you who want to understand this, the next mainstream media will be a hyper-local news platform by zip code. It will have a social component where the public, you, can interact and post your own news, views, opinions, and classifieds locally. It'll have a monetization model like YouTube, where journalists can write a story about the high school football game or the bank robbery or the car crash or the city council meeting or the school board meeting, whatever it is. That story is going to run to the subject like sports, business, politics, and the geography that it's relevant to in that area. And when they share it on their social media pages, they get a percentage of the ad revenue that appears around their content, and a self-service ad platform where people can buy their own ads and target it around the content relevant to their product. So everything I just told you is done on other platforms, just nobody does it around local news. So what I do is inevitable. It will become the next mainstream media. And just for the United States, there's 20,000 cities, there's 3,300 counties, God knows how many zip codes, but just with 5 people a city, you're talking 100,000 people, and 5 people a city is not enough. I mean, because all the different verticals we have, because there's people that may want to write about faith. There's people that may want to write about just recipes or be a food critic. Somebody could be a theater critic, which goes in entertainment. I mean, all these different verticals, you could have probably 20, 30 people a city on average. New York's going to need way more than 20 or 30 people, but you get my point. I mean, you're talking about millions of content creators that are submitting content, sharing it on social media to drive their audience here, where they're sharing in the ad revenue, and then advertisers, which could buy their own ads and target it right down to a zip code. This is where it's all going, Charlie. There's a 100% chance I'm right.
You said one time, and that really stuck with me because I thought you're absolutely right, and they probably never will do it. If one of these big broadcast conglomerates, like let's take iHeartRadio, decided to open it up like you have to all these different content creators, and they can all be in one place, and all you do is just afford them the platform, that people would just flock to that. But you also said they will never do that because they will lose all kinds of control, wouldn't they, over content?
Well, they already have it, don't they? I mean, doesn't iHeart have a podcast? What's it called? What is it?
Yeah, they're radio, all their different music formats and all the different podcasts and so on and so forth.
So they can have a million of them on there. It doesn't really matter. Mine is completely different. I'm non-competitive to them. You know, when you have the podcast that they have.
No, you were talking about doing like what you're doing with the being able to actually concentrate on local things. So you can advertise.
That's the
just
point.
Local,
okay,
not
so
going to do that.
They're not going to do that. No.
Right.
Okay, so I have people reporting on the city council meeting, the high school football game. This is the stuff that matters in a community, right? That's the stuff that brings people together. This is stuff people want to know about. You know, what happened at that city council meeting? Why are my taxes going up? Or what happened at the school board meeting? Did they get rid of this whole, DEI stuff or whatever it is? It's that kind of stuff that's important to the local residents. Nobody does that. It used to be the local paper, but, some of them still do it to some degree, but most of them have kind of been acquired and they're just have more of a state or national feel. They're not doing it anymore simply because there's no more money in it, because the money went to the internet. That's the reason. So what I do will empower local voices where they could actually have a voice. I mean, we put the power of the press in the hands of the people. That's probably the most important thing. And, we live in a world now which is centralized news. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen the Sinclair Broadcasting with the 20 or 30 TV saying the same thing at the same time. So that's all centralized news. It's not a secret. You have 6 people controlling all the messaging for the whole country. And so what we do is decentralize it, because imagine having 1 million people that are news reporters submitting content on our platform. Do you think they give a rat's ass what I think? They don't. And I can't control any of it. It's them reporting the news in their community. And how would I know if what they're saying is accurate or not accurate? You can't. So that's the decentralization part. So the local people will let us know if something's wrong.
Next week, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope it happens. You and I are going to go on with Alex Newman, who has just turned into an extraordinary alternative media. He's definitely one of the top 25 right now in the nation, at least. So I hope that happens, and I'm looking forward to that. Okay, good. That's going to be cool. Going back to President Trump's speech last night, what impressed you the most, or what did you hear perhaps or saw that you thought, I didn't know that? That's new.
I kind of pretty much knew everything. Okay. I mean, we both do. We're in the business, so you see this stuff before it comes out. But I think the real question is that you should be asking me, because it's the disdain on the Democrats' face, and there's nothing that the man could say. Now, I always used to say the guy could cure cancer, and they're not going to care. And then he comes out and says, I could cure some disease. I mean, he was saying what I've been saying. It's really a shame we got to this point. But imagine if you had control of a bank and all the people from everywhere dumped their money into this bank, and you had access to it to do whatever you want. Now, you couldn't blatantly commit crimes, meaning you couldn't just take it, put it in your bank account, but you could say, oh, we're going to make an investment in this, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, in a roundabout way, the money circles back and somehow ends up in one of your accounts. You could do that. So what they're really upset about is this guy just took away their piggy bank. And they're freaking pissed. You know what really surprises me is why they would even show up to begin with. Because remember, you do have the right to remain silent. And I was thinking last night, when he's doing this, he's probably going to lock the doors and then he's going to start reading them their rights. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, this would be the most unbelievable thing. And then have the feds walk in and start snatching them all and putting them in cuffs.
We were hoping for that. Me and my buddies, we were talking about that. Wow, why would he bring them all together like this? But people don't know that that's actually a normal thing, especially for a new president to
Yeah.
call a joint session of Congress.
And then he could have said, "This is not normal."
This is not normal. Yeah. Well, you know what? Good. Because frankly, I've seen what your idea of normal is, and it sucks, and I don't want it anymore. And oh, one more thing, we're not a democracy. Our founding fathers fought real hard to make sure that this wouldn't become a democracy because those fail and they're dismal disasters. It doesn't work, but yet you keep clinging to that. You leftist freaks keep talking about your precious democracy and he's destroying democracy. Good.
You need to get the hell out of California because that's
We're
the
a
next house to
constitutional
burn.
republic. We're not a democracy.
I get it, but you need to get out of California as fast as you can because that whole house of cards is coming down. It's going to take about 24 months of pain. That's what I see.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. Let me take this bent. If you want to help me get out of California, please give givesendgo.com/DoNotTalk. There you go. Right now, I don't even have enough money to put gasoline in the tank to get out of the state. So where would I go? Seriously, where would I go?
I don't know. It's just
to
not.
start applying for jobs outside of the state. But
It's look. At the end of the day, it's all going to be fixed. It has to because the people aren't going to tolerate it. It's the way it's going to work. So eventually,
half the people won't tolerate it. The other half.
The other half, because when their lives become bad and they can't afford to go to the grocery store anymore, then they're going to go, wait a minute, maybe something's wrong here. That's when they're going to stand up.
Yeah. How bad does it have to get before you finally realize?
It has to get bad. It has to get bad. So it's going to get bad. And, Trump has compassion. I have almost zero. Okay. So it's, he's going to probably want to step in and say, if you do this, and I'm going to say, no, you made your bed, lie in it. That's what I would say. You ain't getting out of this mess. So
he did that to the state of Washington and to the state of Oregon when they did that whole during the COVID shutdown and the BLM riots and the Antifa crap and the taking over downtown and calling it the Chad zone and the Chop zone and declaring that they were sovereign citizens. And I was just begging my president, please do something. Please send the National Guard in there. Please make this end. This is horrible. But his attitude was, I want these people to see how bad they are. I want them to suffer the consequences of their choices of putting people like this in power who are allowing this to go on, not only allowing it, but freaking encouraging it. And that was his tactic. And I thought that hurt him. Politically, I felt that hurt him.
Then the only thing else you could do is just snatch them all, arrest them, bring them to another country and dump them off and get rid of them. Because those people are too stupid to be with smarter people. You got to get rid of them. The liberalism is literally a disease and it truly can't be cured. It can't. It for some reason, whatever's in the mind just won't allow you. When facts don't matter anymore, the whole conversation is over, Charlie.
True. Good point.
Okay, you can't go anywhere because, here's the facts, and you don't even want to believe it because it doesn't fit in with what you want to believe, and therein lies the problem. So, those people need to be removed and just gone because they're not going to solve any problems. They're just here to make sure there is a problem.
That's it. They thrive on chaos. And that is the ultimate goal, I believe, of the enemy himself, steal, kill, and destroy. And they are doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. The father of lies is calling the shots for so many on the left now. And it used to be, so many of my fellow conservatives are always like, no, they're basically good people. They're just uninformed. No. I've been saying all along, no, they're really not basically good people. They've done horrible things throughout the history of our United States of America, and they're doing their father's work, and he's the father of lies. So are you going to keep sitting back going, well, we just need to reach across the aisle?
Yeah, they're not good people.
Stop it. They're not good people. And I'm afraid you're probably right. They don't and won't change. I like to believe that, I actually pray we're to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. Love by praying for them, but also love can be tough love by stopping the injustice, that's sometimes you have to love by saying, yeah, you don't get to do that anymore. Yeah, we're going to stop you from doing that now, especially when it comes to children. But also the pray for those who persecute you, and we've been persecuted here, at least in the state of California. But how I pray for them is for their salvation. Can you imagine if Governor Hairdo actually became a Christian, if he started announcing, hey, I'm a follower of Christ Jesus now? What kind of a change, what kind of a dramatic effect and shockwaves that would send through the world if people like that in those kind of positions suddenly gave their lives to Christ Jesus? Could you imagine that kind of turnaround? That's what I pray for. I pray for those who are persecuting me. I do. I pray for their salvation. And I follow it up with this because I pray like King David. If that's not your will, Lord, ruin them. Bring them down. Stop them. Bring them to justice. Make them pay for what they are doing to people. That's how I pray. I'm praying for those who persecute me. I'm following the scripture, aren't I now? It has to happen. I'm afraid you're right. I've been saying for a while, I've been telling all my friends and family here in California, get out. I can't because of family obligations. I have an elderly mother that there's nobody left to help her. And she won't leave. I can't abandon her.
No,
So
you
I'm
cannot abandon.
stuck. I'm kind of stuck, but this is the first time I've ever admitted this on the air because I keep saying, no, I'm stubborn. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight. But I tell my friends and family, get out. I tell them the same thing. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel now.
Oh, there's a massive light at the end. This is so easy to see, Charlie. It's not even
You think
fun.
so?
Oh God, this one's glaring you right in the face.
I
The
hope so.
end is here. Okay, it is freaking here. Okay, there's no more money left. Okay,
Yeah.
Trump has taken away all their funds. Now the only thing they have left is trying to figure out how to rape and pillage your state to get whatever he can get out of there. And you guys ain't going to get, there's just no way to do it. They're already so far in debt, and Trump's going, you're not getting nothing and you won't get anything. So yeah, the house of cards is going to fall here quick. And let it all play itself out. This is going to be good because then you want me to come in, all of you got to leave. Oh, I got a better idea. Leave it the way it is. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a better one. Look at Zelensky. That whole debacle in the White House. I mean, what a freaking idiot. Okay, and all of a sudden he just came back and said, okay, I'll do the rare earth mineral deal with you. I mean, this moron wants to fight Russia. Okay, why would you want to do that? And I'm a firm believer that Russia has absolutely no power because if they did, they could have taken that thing in a minute. Honestly, how long do you think it would take the United States to take Ukraine? I say 48 hours of just heavy bombing and nobody's going to want to fight, right? I mean, so what happened?
And I don't believe that Putin would be holding back on purpose because he doesn't want to continue losing his own men and using his own equipment and that kind of expense. So I think you have a good point. Maybe they're not all that everybody keeps saying they are militarily.
Okay, so they're not because he would have ran right over the top of them. The truth is he did not. And that's the end. Okay, so you either can or you can't, right? And he didn't, which means, in my mind, he lost. He lost. So now what Trump's coming in, and it's actually brilliant, is he's letting everybody save face. He's letting everybody say we won. And here's what you get, and here's what you get, and here's what you get. And then this guy go, well, that's what I wanted. I got some of it. And this one's going to go, well, I this is what I wanted. I got to get some of it. And all of a sudden, everybody's going to walk away going, well, we won. We beat them. I mean, look, Ukraine can actually say Russia couldn't stop us. They may have to give up a piece of their land. They may have to give up something. I don't know what it is, but nobody's going to be dying anymore. So Trump is smart in that how he's playing his hand. But basically, he's going to separate everybody and say, okay, we got what we wanted. So both are going to declare to be a winner. The reality is Ukraine actually won.
Ukraine has tremendous resources and wealth that's been horribly mismanaged, and we've replaced it with our $300 billion that we've just given them in equipment and cash.
Yeah.
And there's there's a big story about after this whole row with Zelensky, Trump, and Vance. Where the media was reporting Europe has pledged to give Ukraine $3.5 billion. Well, we've given them $3.5 billion, and it was a gift. We just gave it to them. What they didn't point out in the media was that 3.5 billion from European countries, is a loan. They're expecting to be paid back, and they will be paid back one way or the other. They didn't just gift it to them because they care about protecting democracy. It's all such a huge, filthy lie. The whole dang thing has been and mismanaged by the worst president this country's ever had, and his lackey Biden. I'm talking about Obama. The arrangements for just giving them money like that is crazy. Who does that? Nobody smart.
Stupid people.
Unless they want the whole kickback thing going on.
And I guarantee you there was literally billions of dollars of kickbacks coming. Okay, so Joe Biden is worth way more than you think he is.
Hey, you notice after a president goes away, if it's a Democrat, the media keeps going back to them to get comment on, well, what do you think this new Republican is doing? Wink, wink, nod, nod, go after him. They always do that, and when it's the other way around, they don't. You never heard from George W. after Obama became president. You never heard the media going to him and asking him what he thought about what he was doing. But that hasn't happened with Biden. Have you noticed that?
Because he can't talk.
I think that's it.
He's a buffoon. So here's the good news. None of those people, I'm talking about the mainstream media, give it another 24 to 36 months, none of them are going to exist. And am I right on the time frame? Probably. They'll certainly
be. Bobby Kennedy makes it illegal for these, like it used to be, where you cannot be advertising drugs in the media, then yes, that will hasten their demise very quickly.
They will at least be operating in the red, hemorrhaging money. So
even
the
Fox
question
News seems to be brought by Pfizer these days.
It is. Make no mistake about it. I mean, you realize they have 1 million. Okay, so today I did. Yesterday I did the SGT report. Today I did Sarah Westall, and between those two shows, they'll probably get about 300,000 viewers. On Fox, they'll get 1 million. So you're talking about two people or a third that are just independent. The point is, it's over. Okay, it's over. The mainstream media is irrelevant. I can't even believe people watch it because they don't have the influence they used to have, because the people that are smart understand that they're lying through their teeth. It's all paid propaganda. So, and then the younger generation, even if they don't know it, they just wouldn't watch it anyway. So that whole house of cards is coming down too. And this is why I keep saying what's going to replace it is shows like yours. And this is where a business like mine comes in, because it's an aggregation of all those shows and all the local news. So the guy that is writing the story about the high school football game anywhere is going to be bringing an audience to the high school football game, because there's a lot of people in, let's say, the 5 boroughs of New York that want to know who won the game. You might get 5,000 or 10,000 readers. Well, CharLee's going to be in there just in another section. You see what I mean? So it allows for cross-pollination.
It's awesome. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad I know you. It's been a kick getting to know you better and becoming a friend with you. And I value you. Sam Anthony, find him and what he's doing at yournews.com, yournews.com. Make that your platform for getting all kinds of information locally as well as nationally and even worldwide. So thank you, my friend. Thank you.
CharLee, it's always great to be on your show. Next week, we're going to do something. We'll have Alex Newman on. Alex, as you know, joined our company. He's going to be spearheading the student journalists and putting together, call it not the curriculum, but the, because remember, I'm a platform. So I run a platform. I'm not in the news business, but he is, right? So he's going to be putting together all the all the stuff that has to do with journalism and, ethical journalism and writing all that stuff. And then he wants to do the training for all these journalists, right? So this is where, what we look for now, like, because we're scaling. I mean, CharLee, I actually, like, I'm looking at my dashboard right now. We got a ton of articles that just came in. 240 news reporters in the last 10 weeks we brought on. In the last, 10 weeks. Last 10 weeks too. Okay, so
Good.
the legacy media is declining. They're coming to me, and now all the news is starting to disseminate, but it's all local news somewhere. So this is where, the capital we need to be able to scale this, and this is where we're selling stock in the company. We have a public exit that we're expecting to happen in the next 12 to 18 months. And, for those of you guys interested in investing, you would just go to your news and go to the bottom of the page and click on invest. It'll take you to Issuance Express. It's a brokerage firm. You can read all about it. If you want to participate, you can spend $200. It doesn't matter, and everywhere in between. So we will get there. Trust me, what I do is inevitable. It's not going away.
Right on, brother. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good
All right,
weekend.
see you.
Yeah. And as for you, you've been so awesome helping this show grow, and you do that through liking, you do that through commenting, because that breaks down the algorithms. Sharing, when you share these shows, that's a huge thing for us, especially at rumble.com/DoNotTalk. That's such a great thing when you share these shows on your social media. And if you want to help financially, that little QR code right there takes you to Venmo.com. Venmo.com/DoNotTalk, or the new one, GiveSendGo.com/DoNotTalk. Thank you, Sarah. By the way, Sarah Norberg just made a very nice donation. I appreciate it so much. So anything you can do to help there would be great. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, America bless God. There's my cap. Missed my salute. Don't tell my sergeant.